Gautam Buddha attained nirvana. And when he attained nirvana, he thought of giving some advice. He thought of giving, he thought of giving the same knowledge to the people, that how they can be free from this cycle of birth, rebirth. How can they save themselves from going into the phase of sorrow, sickness and poverty. And his first sermon, yes, Buddha said in his first sermon at Sarnath. Now people asked, even you will ask me, कि sir कैसे करे? It is impossible. It is very easy to know that one will have to overpower the desires. One will have to leave the desires, because Gautam Buddha is saying that desires are something which can never be. Start with Buddhism and see what is happening in Buddhism. How it is coming into being. Various points like the spread of Jainism and Buddhism will be explained to you when I'll run the slides along with the maps. So do not worry about that. Buddhism was established by Gautam Buddha, you all know. He was born in Kapilvastu. This is also very clear. And to be precise, in 563 B.C. he is taking birth in Kapilvastu. Kapilvastu is near Nepal. So this is how this Gautam Buddha, the founder of Jainism, is coming into being. So Gautam Buddha, at the age of 16, Gautam Buddha got married, and the name of his wife is Yashodhara, and from Yashodhara he had a son whose name was Rahul. Very important details as far as your prelims are concerned. And it was after his marriage at the age of 29 years when he left his home. What happened? Why he left his home? Let me bring you a very normal story which you all must have heard when your Buddhism is concerned. So what is happening? Let's talk about that. So we were talking about that how all of a sudden this Gautam Buddha left his home. What is the story behind that? Let me clear you all that the father of the Gautam Buddha was Sudodhana and his mother name was Maya. What is happening at this point of time? At the birth of Gautam Buddha, a great saint, he gave a prophecy regarding the life of Buddha, that when he will see the sorrow, when he will see the pain of the world outside, one day he will renounce everything, he will leave everything, he will leave your home, he will leave everything which you are seeing. And that is why what that saint saw, what that saint gave a prophecy is that when this Gautam Buddha will see the sickness, will see the poverty, will see the sorrow. Let me write for you. The saint said that when the Gautam Buddha will be aware of the sorrow, will be aware of the poverty, and will be aware of the sickness, three things, Gautam Buddha will leave everything. The Siddhartha will leave everything and will start a journey which is unaware. Pata nahi kya karega. And that is why his father Sudodhana, he confined Siddhartha within a fort in such a manner that only three things were artificially created for this man, and three things were that joy, health and peace. Gautam Buddha was just aware of joy, health and peace. These three things were artificially created for Siddhartha by his father Sudodhana, so that Gautam Buddha should not be aware of all these three things and he should not leave the home, because of the prophecy given by that saint. But one day when Sudodhana was not in the town, as you all do, when your father and mother, your parents are not in the home, you do something, very suspicious. This is what Gautam Buddha said, and this is what Gautam Buddha even did. When his father was not in the town, this Gautam Buddha brought a chariot and he went on inspection of his town. He went on the inspection, and what he came to know, he saw a sick man, a beggar, which is a symbol of poverty, a man and a small kid who was crying. And when watching all these pain, he felt something in his heart, that these are the something which he was never aware of. He is 30 years old almost, and he never knew what these all things were, because he was watching all these things for the first time. Because in his fort only joy, health and peace was created, but not the sorrow, not the sickness and the poverty. And these things for the first time which were introduced to Gautam Buddha. And when he saw all these things, he felt very bad. And he started thinking of one thing, students. He started thinking that what is the reason behind this pain of these humans? Why every human is facing this pain? And now he is trying to find the answer for that. As you all do, if you have any doubt, you can come to the center and ask me. This is what you will do. If you have any doubt regarding history, this is what Gautam Buddha did. Gautam Buddha went to his teacher, who is considered to be, who is considered to be the guru of Gautam Buddha, who showed Gautam Buddha the path. And Alar Kalam was his name, A-L-A-R-K-A-L-A-M, Alar Kalam bhi कहते हैं लोग इसे. Alar Kalam is the person who showed Gautam Buddha the right path. When he went to his teacher and he asked him, he said, teacher, please answer me my question, that why every human being is suffering from this pain? What is that way from where you can free yourself from the pain? And Alar Kalam was surprised when he listened that question of Gautam Buddha. He did not know the answer, but he suggested Gautam Buddha that this is the path on which you can walk and all your answers, all your questions will be answered. This is what Alar Kalam said. And by listening to the advice of his guru, Gautam Buddha renounced everything, as that saint said, at the age of 29, and he left his home in order to find the reasons behind sorrow, poverty and sickness. Why every human has to go through these phases? What is that thing which can save a human being from suffering from all these points? This is what Gautam Buddha is expecting to find right now. After so many years of meditation, wandering, Gautam Buddha attained moksha. Means वो Mentos light आ गई उनके पास, and he came to know, डिटेल में पता लग गया उनको, that why every man has to go through these three phases, and why and how a man can be prevented. This is what called the stage of nirvana in Buddhism. In Buddhism, when you attain supreme knowledge, that state is called nirvana. That state is called nirvana. Yes, Alar Kalam was his guru who showed him the path, and it was in the place which is called Uruvela, and on the banks of the river which is called Niranjana. On the banks of the river Niranjana, in the village called Uruvela, Gautam Buddha attained nirvana. And when he attained nirvana, he thought of giving some advice. He thought of giving, the same knowledge to the people, that how they can be free from this cycle of birth, rebirth. How can they save themselves from going into the phase of sorrow, sickness and poverty. And his first sermon, yes, took place at a place called Sarnath. At Sarnath, Gautam Buddha gave his first sermon. See, when you are studying Buddhism with me, Buddhism is attesting some kinds of specific words for every event which is connected with the life of Gautam Buddha or Siddhartha. So you have come to know that how a simple man Siddhartha became a Gautam Buddha. Let me show you one thing. It was at a place called Uruvela when you are attaining nirvana, and You know what happened with Vardhaman Mahavira? When he attained Kaivalya, people started calling him Jin. Jin, the one who has conquered all the worldly sorrows, and the same thing when Gautam Buddha attained nirvana, people started calling him the Buddh. Buddh means an enlightened one. An enlightened. And the followers of Buddha were called Bodhi. They were called Bodhi, and the sect was thus named as Buddhism. This is how you get the name Buddhism. Is that clear? Is that very much clear to you all? So at a place Uruvela on the banks of river Niranjana, you attain nirvana, which is supreme knowledge. After attaining nirvana, people started calling you Buddha. Buddha means enlightened, and that is why the followers of Buddha were called Bodhi, and this sect was called Buddhism. So after attaining the knowledge, you think of distributing it. Yes, it happens with the students. When you clear something, like I have seen many students who are just taking the help of fake something, a fakeness, in order to create their place in the society. There are students who left the preparation of UPSC, and what they advise the people that I cleared my mains, and pre is very easy to clear. I have to clear pre 3 times. But yeah, it was like I got failed in interview, and this broke my heart. And that is why I left the preparation. Is it right? And then you start judging the people, you start distributing the knowledge to the people, and the real fact is that you have never even cleared the pre. Forget the mains. So in order to create your place in the society, you start distributing the knowledge to others, that this is how you can prepare for UPSC prelims, this is how you can prepare for mains, and this is how you can appear for the interviews. The same man who has never done anything, but yes, once upon a time he did the preparation, so he has the right to distribute the same among you. This is how everyone is doing right now in the modern world. But this is the age of enlightenment, I would say. Gautam Buddha, when he attained enlightenment, he got the answers of all these 3 facts, that why every human being has to go through these stages. And what Gautam Buddha said at his first sermon at Sarnath, very nice and good words which you all should listen very carefully. Gautam Buddha said that the reason behind all these 3 things is the desires you own. Is that desires you own. If you are successful in overpowering your desires, yes, my dear, you can successfully pass, and you can avoid passing through these stages in your life if you can pass, if you can overpower your desires. This is what Gautam Buddha said in his first sermon at Sarnath. Now people asked, even you will ask me, कि sir कैसे करे? It is impossible. It is very easy to know that one will have to overpower the desires. One will have to leave the desires, because Gautam Buddha is saying that desires are something which can never be. Desires are something, according to Gautam Buddha, which can never be withdrawn and which can never be finished. They will never finish in your life. For example, if you own a cycle, you can think, you think of owning a car. If you own a small car, you think of now owning a big car. If you own a big car, now you want to have a luxury car like Mercedes, like BMW. If you get that, now your next desire that I want a helicopter now. You get the helicopter, now you think of becoming a Vijay Mallya. I need my own airlines. And when you get that airlines also, still you are not satisfied. So your desires can never be fulfilled. This is what Gautam Buddha is saying. So you need to leave these things in order to save yourself from all these things. This is what most of the social influencers of today's world are copy pasting. For example, one name, I would not recall his name, but he always says one thing which is very important, and I always focus on that in my class, that possessions are the reasons why you all are in pain. possessions of property, possession of the relations are something which is making you face that problem in your life. This is what Gautam Buddha is saying, leave that desires. And now the Sarnath disciples asked him, sir, how can we leave that? Gautam Buddha replied in a very simple manner that eightfold path is the way through which you can pass through this stage and become like me, and can become like a nirvana people. You can become an enlightened person if you follow the eightfold path. Now the disciples asked, sir, kindly explain. We need to remember them and we'll follow that. And now the simple riddle which I am going to explain these eightfold path in my own way, you will read that. Okay, it becomes a challenge for the UPSC aspirants to remember this eightfold path, and I will connect this eightfold path with a simple objective of being a student life or a life as a civil service aspirant. Magar Gautam Buddha explained the eightfold path in order to make you something to leave all your desires. But I am going to explain you the eightfold path where you have the most important desire, that is of becoming an IAS. Is that fine? So let's remember it. हम लोग समझेंगे IAS के perspective से, but Gautam Buddha is saying all these things from the perspective of becoming a person who has no desires at all. Sant आदमी बिल्कुल. So Gautam Buddha said that first of all you should have a view, right view should be there. If you want to become a civil service aspirant, right view should be there. If you have a right view, then you should have, right view is also called a right aim. You should have a right, not aim, aim will come later, sorry. A right view means a thought of it. You are thinking after 12th that I want to become an IAS aspirant, an IAS. So a right thought should be there in your mind. Second thing which will come, right view ke baad should be right aim, means your intentions should be now clear. My aim is now becoming a civil service, or is to get into this service and to become an IAS officer. Your aim is that. Now having that aim, third point, right speech. Sometimes when you start preparing for the civil service examination, you start speaking wrong words with the family members, showing that you are very occupied with this all and you don't want them to disturb you. In that way, you generally behave in that way which is not expected from you. Generally not expected from you. So right speech should be there. And then comes the major work, means right action. Now you start preparing for the service. Done? After the action, you become a civil service aspirant, you become an IAS officer. And now Gautam Buddha is saying, even after achieving your aim, there should be light or right livelihood. ऐसा नहीं है that you start taking the bribe now. You start taking the advantage of becoming a civil servant. No, should not be done. So right livelihood should be there. And you should also take care of your health. So exercise, right exercise. Sixth point which Gautam Buddha said, you need to keep yourself fit. Right health we can write. And after attaining the health, now Gautam Buddha is saying this is how you should spend your whole life. And the seventh point which Gautam Buddha is saying is about the right memory. After going through this phase, can you imagine every point here looks like as if one stage of your life is passing by. One stage of your life. One was a student life. When you are a student at your 12th class, you have an aim, thought of becoming an aspirant. After passing your graduation, now your aim is actually an IAS. then you are maintaining your speech while your preparation, then you start your preparation, you got your aim, then your livelihood should be very much important, it should be in a right manner, follow the principles, and right health means you also have to take care of your health, you have to exercise daily. And the seventh point which Gautam Buddha is saying, that towards the age of your retirement, right memory you should have. Right memory means you should think of what wrong and what right you have done. And then the eighth and the last one is right meditation. Right meditation means samadhi. This is how you leave your body. This is how Gautam Buddha explained the eightfold path in order to attain nirvana. और ये मैंने आपको बताया है एक स्टूडेंट की लाइफ से, so that you all should remember it. But Gautam Buddha explained this eightfold path from the perspective of becoming a man who is free from all kinds of desires. So please copy that when you are trying to learn that. Is that very much fine? So this is the eightfold path described by Gautam Buddha. The most important epics in which the principles of Gautam Buddha and the words of Gautam Buddha have been, I would say, compiled, those are called Tripitak. Or they are called Tripitak because these are the collections of 3 books. The very first Pitak is called Sutta Pitak, S-U-T-T-A. The Sutta Pitak is actually talking about, I would say, the principles of Buddhism. तो इसमें आप लोग लिख सकते हैं that important details of Buddhism has been mentioned in 3 books, and those 3 books together are called Tripitak. They are called Tripitak because they are the collection of 3 books. In the Tripitak, the first Pitak is Sutta Pitak. The Sutta Pitak is talking about the principles. Broadly I am just writing so that you should not feel like as if something is left as far as Buddhism is concerned, and you should also have a broad understanding of this topic.